This is News 25 with Deanna O'Donnell and Stacy Jensen. News 25, local news you can count on. News is brought to you by J.K. Nelson Law. Give them a call, 727-9900. News is also brought to you by Desert View Hospital. You can count on us.
Welcome. So glad you could join us here on News 25 on KPVM TV and Ace Country Radio. I'm Deanna O'Donnell.
And I'm Stacy Jensen. It's Wednesday, July 19th.
Well, yesterday's BOCC agenda had commissioners torn to if they wanted to write a letter of support regarding a 100-acre solar project that will feed into Valley Electric's power grid. Commissioner Strickland championed the idea, stating that she believed the resolution for the county not to support solar plants in town was specific to only BLM land and not privately owned property, which this is part of. Earlier this month, a presentation was made regarding this project. Item on the agenda for possible action to write a letter of support regarding a 20-megawatt alternating current solar photovoltaic power generating facility on 100 acres of private land located in the town of Pahrump, owned by K. Kennington LLC. This land is located at 3751 West Betty Avenue here in Pahrump. The 100 acres runs from Basin Avenue to Barney Street and north to Betty Avenue. They say that this land is in a flood zone area and would be the best use of this property. During construction, 150 jobs will be available, which they hope will start in spring of 2023 and be completed by the end of the same year. The project, called Basin Solar, has been in the works for some time. The project is owned by Con Edison Incorporated. Commissioner Donna Cox asked a member of the Energy Project Solutions, Clay Jensen, who was giving the presentation, if they spoke to the surrounding residents who live in this area to get consent from them.
2 years ago, did a mailing where we did direct mailers to all the adjacent property owners and solicited input and comment and encouraged them to reach out to our representative. And she did have quite a good response to that, where some were asking questions that they were seemed to be satisfied with the responses, and a lot of it had to do with the questions that we tried to address, the myths about the market, and it seemed like all of the concerns had been answered, but it was about 18 months ago that happened. And so we may have additional questions that come up. That's the efforts today. It was a direct mailer requesting and then follow up, and had good exchange with the neighbors.
Commissioner Frank Carboni stated that to write this letter of support, his stipulation was that he recommends a development agreement. Director of Planning Brett Wagner also spoke in regards to this development and the agreement.
One of the things that's been a requirement on other private properties has been a development agreement. Yep. And a development agreement obviously ensures that materials, in order for us to see a sales tax benefit, they either have to be delivered here or purchased here. One of the things that does is ensure that happens. We can stipulate that. The other thing that we always encourage any of these types of developments is try to utilize local labor and make every best effort possible with public outreach to try to garner any of the construction workers and stuff from our community.
Commissioner Deborah Strickland motioned to have a letter of support written by Planning Director Brett Wagner, and Commissioner Frank Carboni seconded that motion. The Board of County Commissioners voted 4-0 with the absence of Commissioner Leo Blundo.
Senator Pete Gogachia says property owners don't necessarily have to water to maintain their water rights on large pieces of property.
What is the use it or lose it water doctrine? Is it still in effect during the unprecedented drought? Nevada's first water statute was enacted in 1866 and has been amended many times since then. Nevada water law is based on two fundamental concepts: prior appropriation and beneficial use. Irrigation, mining, recreation, commercial, industrial, and municipal uses are examples of beneficial uses, among others. All water within the boundaries of the state, whether above or beneath the surface of the ground, belongs to the public and is subject to appropriation for beneficial uses. Beneficial use also includes the underlying principle of the appropriative rights system of water allocation, known as use it or lose it. In the West, where water resources are scarce, water users must demonstrate an actual beneficial use of water. They cannot speculate in water rights or hold on to water rights they do not actually intend to place to a beneficial use in a timely manner. If they stop using the water, they will lose the water right. Forfeiture of groundwater right occurs if there is failure to use the water right for 5 consecutive years. The owner has 1 year to show that they are using the water right for beneficial use at that time. News 25 spoke to Nevada Senator Pete Goycochea.
You've got to show beneficial use or in fact file for an extension, and again, clearly you can file for an extension if you have cause. And that again is why we need the data to make sure that, all right, when was the last time you did use it? You can go there today and really there's probably not an accurate accounting of when you did pump it last. When did you use your approved beneficial use? And so, yeah, it kind of slides along. Yes, you're exactly right, though. In Basin 162, and when Jason King was a state engineer, he talked about designating 162 as a critical management area, but it was never done.
And we'll be back with more News 25 right after this break.
You're watching News 25, the most recognized and farthest reaching local news in Nye County. News 25, local news you can count on. This segment of the news is brought to you by Sunset Valley Pools. For quality service and supplies, call 775-513-4114.
Welcome back. Well, according to the CDC, a new Omicron subvariant is now dominating here in the United States. It's known as BA.5. You may be wondering what that means, so we asked microbiologist Dr. Daniel Rhodes with Cleveland Clinic.
From the information we have so far, BA.5 is causing disease similar to other Omicron variants, which has been less severe than the previous waves. Some of that is probably due to underlying immunity because people have been infected or been vaccinated, and some of that might be due to the nature of the virus itself.
Dr. Rhodes says throughout the pandemic, the coronavirus has continued to mutate, and that's how variants and subvariants emerge. When it comes to a BA.5 specifically, though, there is still a lot to learn. However, they do know that it is considered highly transmissible. Symptoms also seem to be wide-ranging and can include a fever, runny nose, sore throat, headache, and a persistent cough. Dr. Rhodes says all of the normal precautions people have been taking during the pandemic are still recommended, like wearing a mask when needed and getting vaccinated. And while BA.5 is the dominant subvariant right now, researchers are also keeping a close eye on another one overseas.
So BA.275 is a variant that has emerged recently. It was first detected in India, and it's been identified now in more than a dozen countries, including the US. So it's kind of seems like an up-and-coming variant. We don't know anything really except that it's emerging.
And if you're curious about infection rates in your community, you can always check your state health department's website. You know, we talked a little bit about this because the numbers that they're getting for test results are not accurate, and the wastewater numbers are actually the most accurate numbers right now that are happening because everybody tests at home.
They do. All right. Well, Nye County Sheriff's Office deputies arrested a man on U.S. Highway 95 who had a varied quantity of illegal narcotics on him, that according to officials.
Nye County Sheriff's Office arrested a Utah man on Wednesday, July 6 of this month for possession of a controlled substance. Deputies responded to what was originally a call for a possible accident on U.S. Highway 95 at mile marker 79 southbound, stating that a gray four-door Mazda 6 vehicle was facing northbound in the southbound shoulder. As deputies arrived, they made contact with the sole occupant of the vehicle, Daniel Thompson, out of Utah, and noted that with possible drug paraphernalia paraphernalia on the passenger seat that was later identified as heroin. A search of the vehicle then found methamphetamine and base cocaine, as well as a wallet in the car door that was a Utah Department of Corrections identification. Thompson was then placed under arrest and transported to the Nye County Jail.
Well, a woman who was hitchhiking a ride with a person, she decided instead she would like to drive that car. She was arrested for auto theft a short time later. An individual by the name of Cheyenne Garnett has been arrested by the Nye County Sheriff's Office. She's facing charges of 1 count of grand larceny of a motor vehicle and 1 count of robbery. According to the declaration of arrest on July 12th, deputies were dispatched to the area of Old West Road and Highway 372 here in Pahrump in reference to an alleged robbery. Upon arrival, they made contact with a male who said that he gave an individual by the name of Cheyenne Garnett a ride home in his brown-colored GMC Canyon. He said at that time, Cheyenne pushed him out of the truck and proceeded to get in the driver's seat. And officers say that they found the truck driving on Old West at a high rate of speed a short time later after this incident was reported. The individual says that the vehicle was registered to his grandmother, who had moved to Arkansas a year ago and left the truck. He also states that he had been living out of the vehicle and positively identified Cheyenne via her booking photo. Cheyenne Garnett was arrested and transported to the Nye County Sheriff's Office Detention Center. Well, if you're looking to find a cat, and I know that Stacy is,
Yeah.
well, we're going to
enough.
show you a couple available. You might want to adopt one right after this break.
You're watching News 25, brought to you by Mountain West Lawyer, Injury Attorneys, 727-9500. Also brought to you by Silver State Health. Visit silverstatehealth.org or call 702-471-0420 for an appointment. News 25, local news you can count on.
And welcome back. And it looks like we're going to go check in with Darby, Tales of Nye County, still fostering some cats that were turned in as part of a hoarding situation.
Today's Save a Pet segment is made possible by Realty Executives in Action. Put the team at Realty Executives in action for you.
Hi, I'm Darby here at Tales of Nye County, and today we are joined with Taffy and Walter. This one right here on my lap is Taffy, beautiful orange tabby. He actually only has one eye, extremely sociable, super duper loving, wants to go and cuddle with you. And his friend is Walter. Walter is somewhere. Oh, Walter's behind us. He's going and playing with some water. He's enjoying himself. But these two wonderful cats are here at Tales of Nye County. Tales of Nye County offers spay and neuter for discounts or free of charge or by donation. If you would like to come and see them or any of their wonderful cats or get any assistance for spay and neuter, you can give them a call at 702-306-3245. You can also go on their website at talesofnyecounty.org. They accept any donations, including monetary donations, so please feel free to contact them.
I know Stacy and David want that cat. Well, if you've had some unsuccessful DIY attempts, and I know I have, you know how difficult it can be to fix your mistakes. In today's Ask Angie segment, Rachel Zebernick teaches us how to fix bad DIY projects.
Sometimes you have to learn firsthand that some home projects are best when left to professionals. Rachel Zebernick, interior home expert at Angie, is here to walk us through how to spot and fix bad do-it-yourself projects.
Unsuccessful plumbing repairs are one of the most common DIY mistakes. Even minor repairs like pipe leaks can lead to mold and rot when done incorrectly, and that can create much more expensive repairs down the line. If you suspect a leak in your sink, make sure to check that your drainage joints are watertight. You can place a paper towel below the sink, wait an hour, and you'll be able to see if there's a leak. If there is a leak, call a pro immediately to make sure that the plumbing repair is done correctly and quickly.
We don't recommend fixing bad do-it-yourself plumbing jobs yourself, but there are some things you can do to prevent future problems. Never put oil down your sink, and only put food down sinks that have garbage disposals. Using your sink properly will ensure that it stays leak-free for as long as possible.
Bathroom tile needs to be watertight, which requires meticulous attention to detail and can make DIY installation extra tricky. If the tile around your tub or shower isn't installed properly, it can cause water damage to other structures in the bathroom. Unfortunately, the only way to fix incorrectly placed tile is to rip it up and start from scratch.
When it comes to water damage, it's always better to be safe than sorry. If you think your bathroom tiles were installed incorrectly, call a pro to come take a look. A good local pro can diagnose the problem and come up with a solution that works for your home.
Electrical wiring gone wrong is one of the worst DIY mistakes you can make. It's a dangerous project that should always be left to the professionals. If you try to install or fix electrical wiring in your home, you risk damaging the home and/or hurting yourself. If you suspect there are problems in the home related to the electrical system, call a pro immediately to make sure the job gets done right.
Do you have questions about your home projects? Tweet them using hashtag AskingAngie. That's hashtag AskingAngie, and you may get some tips in an upcoming segment.
News 25 WeatherCam is brought to you by Lerner and Rowe Injury Attorney's Office in Pahrump. In a wreck, need a check? Call 702-877-1500.
If you could only see the heat emanating off the screen.
Well, you can, because look at those clouds, and hot temperatures are still in the forecast. John's going to give us a full update right after this.
News 25 weather is brought to you by Dairy Council of Nevada. The splash of cream in your coffee, the dollop of sour cream on your burrito, the melted toasty cheese on your pizza. Undeniably delicious, undeniably dairy. Enjoy what's real.
Hi, good evening, Nevada. It's John Kohler from the KPVM Channel 25 Weather Studios. Great to see you on a Wednesday, and what a Wednesday. Look at this weather map. 99 degrees up here in Fernley, up here in Fallon. They're tied for 99 degrees. How about that? Carson City hit 96. 93 out there in Tonopah. That's a cool spot in the state today. 95 in Goldfield. They weren't close behind. Beatty, 105 degrees and an excessive heat warning. Amargosa, 109, excessive heat warning. Las Vegas, 108, excessive heat warning. Can you believe? And what they got for you out in Death Valley, they're like, it's just another day. 120 degrees. But here in the Paradise of Pahrump, let's take a look. It's 105. Right now it's 105. Excessive heat warning. Yeah, it's dangerous out there. Bring some extra water. Try and stay inside with the AC. Try not to exert yourself outside. It's kind of nuts. Southwesterly winds to 11 miles per hour. Helps just a little bit. But that humidity at 12%, yes, it is very, very dry here in the desert. The sun rose this morning at 5:41 a.m., setting this evening at 7:58. It's going to be a gorgeous night, clear skies, beautiful star watching, a low tonight of a scant 79 degrees. That'll feel great. As we head on into the week, a whole bunch more heat. Tell you what, 108 degrees next couple days. Looks like it's backing off about 8 degrees total by, or maybe 10 degrees even by next Tuesday. We're picking up some cloud cover over the weekend, and temperatures dropping to back into double digits on Tuesday with 98 degrees and 15% chance of rain Monday and Tuesday. That'll actually feel pretty good. A little bit of rain on a Monday, 98 degrees. Something to look forward to. All right, make your plans. Back to the desk. Here's Deanna.
I'm just going to be excited about next Tuesday. That's all I got to say about that.
Thank you, John. Yeah, we have an extreme heat warning in effect from the National Weather Service office that's going to be affecting most of Nye County as well as the area of Pahrump. Looks like anybody, again, in the outdoors, make sure you're staying hydrated, staying cool. It also affects anybody, the elderly and children as well.
So that is going to be for Thursday and Friday with those high temps that John just told us about. You can look at the map right here, and the excessive heat warning is all over the area here in southern Nevada. And so very little reprieve from that happening except for next Tuesday. So we're just going to wait for that.
That's
right.
But
stay cool, check on people,
Pets,
make sure that,
Pets
definitely.
and livestock, especially if they're outdoors, and anybody, children and elderly.
Yep, definitely. And that's going to wrap up this edition of News 25. I'm Deanna O'Donnell.
And I'm Stacy Jensen.
Good night.
Good night.